What's up, everybody? What is going on? We're back with another Detroit Lions talk. I said I wanted to do these weekly. I said I wanted to do these at least once a week, and I love doing it on Sundays. I had so much fun last time. So we're back again. We are back with another Lions talk. And since this past live stream, since we were here last, there has been a lot of stuff going on in Detroit. I mean, there's been a lot of news to come out, obviously, as you can see on the screen. Matt Stafford, the one and only franchise quarterback the Lions have ever had, was not released, not traded, but he's asked for a trade. He's requested a trade. So yeah, Stafford will not be here very much. He won't be here much longer. And unfortunately, as a Lions fan, Stafford, the quarterback that I've watched the entire time I've been a Lions fan, the guy that has always been there and always been the one consistent and the one positive of this team, will not be a Detroit Lion for much longer. And that is unfortunate. That sucks. That is, that's not fun for anybody. I know there's a lot of people that are going to say, we love that Stafford's gone. Oh, Stafford was the problem. Oh, this and that, and all these different things. And, it sucks for me. We've had this conversation a lot. We've had the Stafford debate all the time on my channel. We have it a lot. And I'm sure once Dr. Detroit gets in here, we'll have the conversation again. But Stafford, whether you loved him, whether you hated him, I feel like every Lions fan is at least somewhat upset. I feel like every Lions fan can at least respect what Stafford did for Detroit. You can call me Funk as the first one in today. He says, man, I hope San Fran wants to go up their first and third this year and next year second. Part of it, we play San Francisco next year. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be down for trading him to San Francisco, but we'll have to wait and see on that trade. It'll be very interesting to see what they can get out of Stafford. Some people really want Stafford. Some fan bases are saying, yeah, give up a first for him. A lot of Lions fans are saying, oh, he's not worth a first round pick. So, the coming week should be a very interesting one. The coming week should be very fun to see. Not only what value can we get out of Stafford, but what direction is this team looking to move in? Right. I mean, it should be very, very interesting. I know we're going to talk about Stafford a ton today because that's just what we do on my channel. Stafford did what he could. Yeah, exactly. Stafford gave everything he could to this city. I mean, Stafford gave everything he could to this team. Whether you liked him, whether you hated him, whether you wanted him here next year or not, again, you have to at least acknowledge what he did for Detroit. I mean, he's leaving the Lions pretty much leading in every statistical category that matters. I mean, completions, yards, touchdowns. He has the most wins out of any Lions quarterback ever. Like, regardless of how you feel about Matt Stafford, you have to give him that credit. You have to give him his due diligence because he played his heart out for a very long time in this city. And as much as I hate to see him go, as much as it sucks to see Stafford not gonna be, as tough as it is to I guess, know that Stafford has played his last game in a jersey and that I'll never see Matt Stafford suit up for the Lions again. I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's finally going to hopefully a good team. I'm glad that he's going to get a chance to go win somewhere else because to be totally honest, I don't know if he stays here, if he gets a chance to be successful. You can call me Funk says, I never said he sucks. I just saw the writing on the wall with the new regime. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Oh, I just saw Dr. Detroit's comment pop up. I'm sure this one will be fun. We'll get to it. This says, what's up? What's going on? How you doing? Hi, Alexander. How are you doing today? We could get a few late draft picks and a decent person. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, everybody has a different view on what Stafford's worth is, what Stafford is worth on the trade block. So it'll be super, super interesting to see that. Conspiracy theory, Dodds never wanted the Lions job. He just wanted it inside. Yeah, I've heard that theory a couple of times. I've heard that rumor passed around a couple of times. And, I'm not going to say that that's exactly what he's doing because I do think Ed Dodds is looking for a general manager position. I do think he's looking for a GMing job. But it's very possible. It seems very, very odd that, as I fix my chair, it seems very odd that he would come in here and then, just not even be given a chance. So that's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't put that past him. We're the Pets. I think there's a lot of good teams you can go to. Going over to the draft order, I think you could potentially see, let's see, I think you could definitely see Denver taking a shot. There was rumors a couple months ago that Dallas was interested. New York, I mean, it'd definitely be an upgrade over Danny Dimes. San Francisco's a one that could look for him. New England could definitely be looking for a quarterback. Washington could definitely be looking for a quarterback. Indy's definitely looking for a quarterback. I would say maybe even Pittsburgh. I know they just signed Dwayne Haskins, but I mean, obviously Dwayne Haskins hasn't done a whole lot. New Orleans is definitely going to look for a quarterback, especially if Drew Brees is retiring. So I think there's a lot of suitors out there that could be interested in Matt Stafford. And I'm not going to say that he's going to go for like all these different picks, but I do think there's going to be at least a couple teams that are interested in our boy. So Dr. Detroit says he gets credit for sure. This team is just not ready for Matt to endure 2 more years. Yeah, I don't know if Matt Stafford would. I don't think he wanted to go through another rebuild. So I think that's part of the reason. And from what I've heard, Matt Stafford initiated this. He walked up to, the owner a while ago and said, kind of brought up is there a potential for a trade? And then there's also he walked up to the new regime when they got here and said, I love this city. I love being here, but I just can't go through another rebuild. Is there any possibility? Is there any potential for a trade? And they kind of work something out. And obviously now they're looking for a trade candidate. So, we'll definitely have to see. I've been watching a lot of other teams' channels. Some people think the Panthers could give up their first and a third this year. That would be really interesting. Because I mean, the Panthers sit just behind us, literally 8th overall. So I mean, if we get that, we could get Parsons likely and a good quarterback, and that would be the best of both worlds. So that would be super interesting. I skipped your comment. I apologize. For all those fans saying Stafford doesn't win games, he holds records in franchise for most. Yeah, yes, he does. But people aren't gonna people like the playoff wins, not the regular season. The regular season doesn't mean anything, right, guys? Maybe the reason we didn't get Salah or other people is because they realized Stafford isn't going to be here. That's definitely possible. I don't know how open the Lions were about trading Stafford within the interviews and within all of that stuff, but I definitely think it's possible that we could, or that they could have said, hey, Stafford's asking for a trade. Stafford might not be here next year. So, I think during the interview, they were likely very open and saying, I'm not going to guarantee Stafford's going to be here. I'm not going to guarantee that you get a chance to work with him. So that could have been a breaking point for some coaches. Stafford gone. I have a glass for your tears. Just go that from Dion. Yeah. Funny. All right, Steve O says, I think the Lions should focus on building a great O-line and defense before they draft a rookie and throw him to the Wolves. That'd be set for failure. I mean, I think the Lions have a good offensive line. Obviously Ragnow's a beast. Taylor Decker played very well. Jonah Jackson was very solid this year. I think they definitely need a right guard, and then they got to figure out what they're doing at right tackle, whether that be, Big V, whether that be Tyrell Crosby coming back, one of those two. Maybe you draft somebody else. If Penny Sewell somehow falls, maybe you consider drafting him and building up that offensive line and just securing that even more so. But I think the Lions have a decent offensive line. I think they have decent pieces on offense, especially in the front seven and in the running back core. But that defense definitely needs to be built up if we want to win anything. And, I think drafting a quarterback obviously now makes the most sense. And now they almost have to draft a quarterback unless they, find a trade for, maybe they straight up Deshaun Watson or something. But, I think that the defense is more important than the quarterback. But if we're gonna go 0-16 if we go into the season with David Blau or with Chase Daniel. That's just how it is. Conspiracy Stafford to Pats and Patricia did bad and failed us on purpose just to get fired to go back. I don't think he got fired on purpose, but it's funny that he went back to the Patriots for sure. I don't blame him. I really don't. But we have to get past the pain and rebuild and fast. Yeah, I'm hoping we can rebuild very, very quickly. This is my take. Yeah. Oop, I skipped some stuff. All right, we're back. I'm starting to see the light. I don't know, man. Maybe. San Francisco, New Orleans, Indy, New England, and Washington are my top 5. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I think Denver's up there as well. Obviously, if we can get Denver's 9th overall pick, that would be huge. But I agree with that list. Those are my top 5. But I do think if he went to Denver, that could be really interesting too, because they got Courtland Sutton, who's very good. They got, obviously Philip Lindsay, who's pretty good. They got some good pieces on defense with hopefully Von Miller coming back. So I think that could be a 6th team that you look at for sure. I think Washington has offered the bank for him. I mean, if they had Stafford in that playoff game, I think they win. I think the defense played well enough, and obviously Taylor Heineke played very well in that game, but I think Stafford makes a couple more plays. I think Stafford stays in the entire time, and I think you have a very solid argument that if Stafford's on that Washington team, they win the division outright, no week 17 drama, nothing like that. I think you could definitely make the case if Stafford's on Washington, they move on to the divisional round of the playoffs. So, I think that's I think if anybody's going to offer the house, I think Washington is going to, because I think they're the closest to success right now. And I think they could, out of all the teams looking for a well, maybe not the most close to success, but I think they can gain the most from acquiring Stafford, I guess is how I should have said that. Let's see. Complete this line and build up the D. Absolutely. That's what the line should be focusing on. The O-line isn't that great. They still couldn't run the ball. They ran the ball relatively effective this year. They just didn't run it a lot this year. That was the problem, because Ragnow was very good. Taylor Decker, as I said, was very good. Even Jonah Jackson with his rookie struggles was relatively solid. But that right side definitely needs some work. I'm not saying that it's a great offensive line all around, but that left side of the offensive line, left tackle to center, is very good. And as I said, the right guard and right tackle need to be cleaned up, and they need to be fixed very, very quickly. I heard someone in Dion's stream say we had one overall defense in the league 3 times in a row. I mean, maybe back in like the 50s when there were like 10 teams. The Lions were good back in the 50s, but not in a very long time if we had a top 15 defense, let alone the number 1 defense, and let alone the number 1 defense 3 times in a row. You can call me Fung. Says it's QB this year. Next year, there aren't as many QBs that have that he's the guy. I mean, I don't hate the quarterback class next year. I think JT Daniels from Georgia is pretty solid. I think Kyle Slovis, is that his name, from USC, is very good. Desmond Ridder, I believe, is coming back to Cincinnati. He'll be coming out next season. Who else? Obviously, Sam Howell from North Carolina. He's a very good quarterback. So Spencer Rattler, another one. So I do think there's some talent next year in the draft. But obviously, if we have a chance, especially at Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, I think we have to take those guys, especially obviously now considering our situation. If we trade Stafford, we might as well just trash the next 6 seasons with this coach. I actually think Dan Campbell is building a very good coaching staff. Obviously he has a passion and fire. I actually really like what Dan Campbell's doing so far with the coaching staff he's putting together. I like the Anthony Lynn hire that we got at offensive coordinator last night. That was real cool. I was really hyped about that, and my night went from way up here when we hired Anthony Lynn to way down here when they announced Stafford was leaving. So that sucked, but it's I don't think I think next season is going to be kind of a transition year. But I think come 2022, this team could be competitive if the right pieces come into place. But I don't think the next 6 seasons are a wash. I just think that Dan Campbell and Stafford, especially, we're looking to move in a different direction. So I think the Lions owe Stafford, the chance to leave and go win somewhere else. Are you not going to talk about Stafford to the Titans? I mean, they paid Ryan Tannehill a lot of money, so I don't know if they could really get rid of Ryan Tannehill. And if they what would we? I guess I don't see the appeal to Tennessee because they have Ryan Tannehill, who's more than capable of winning them football games. And while I think Stafford's an upgrade over Tannehill, I don't think they'd be willing to give up a whole lot to acquire Stafford. So I don't really see that. I don't really see that trade happening. Denver's my 6th. Yeah, that's fair. I think Denver's a good option. Ryder loves Stafford. I did love Stafford. I got my Stafford jersey right there for you, signed and everything. And I think I'm a curse to this Lions team because every time I upload a video, something happens to contradict what I say. And after receiving that Stafford jersey a couple weeks ago, Stafford was, I'm pretty sure I'm cursed for the Detroit Lions. I'm pretty certain that's the case at this point. Titans not interesting. Yeah, I don't think the Titans are going to give up enough. A lot of people love Stafford. I was one of those people. I like Kyle Trask, would be great for Detroit. I really like Kyle Trask too. But I mean, I think Kyle Trask is in a weird situation for Detroit because I'm not taking Kyle Trask at 7 as much as I really like him. I don't think he's worth the 7th overall pick, but then you also get into the cases. Is he going to make it to the 2nd round? With Denver and Dallas and New York and San Francisco potentially and New England and who else? Washington and Chicago and Indianapolis and Pittsburgh maybe and New Orleans and maybe if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win a Super Bowl, maybe Tom Brady. With all these teams needing a quarterback, what are the odds that he makes it to the 7th pick in the second round? Like I really do like Kyle Trask, but I'm not convinced that he's gonna make it to our second pick, and I'm not willing to take him at number 7. I'm just not. I don't think he's that good. I can see Zach in Detroit. I would so love Zach Wilson in Detroit. If we could get any quarterback right now, I'm praying for Zach Wilson because I watched a lot of him this past week. He's really good. He's special, man. And with the right coaching staff, he could be real special. He can be the next Herbert, the next rookie sensation. He can be the next Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I hope Zach Wilson somehow finds a way to fall. I don't know if he will. I got a lot of comments last night saying he's not gonna fall. But Jacksonville likely takes Lawrence. New York, I'm really hoping they trade for Watson. Because that would take a quarterback off their radar. Atlanta could then take, either Fields or Wilson, and then that would be the Lions with the either Fields or Wilson, which I would be cool with either of those. So I'm really hoping the Jets pull the trigger, and I'm hoping they get and pull up for Deshaun Watson. Because that would change a lot of things, and that would allow the Lions to get a stud quarterback. Tony, you have no idea what a rebuild looks like if that's your thought. Seriously, just follow Stafford and enjoy him. I'm a fan of the logo on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back. I'm a fan of everything. I'm a fan of the players, and I'm a fan of the team. I want a stud, not a project. So if we can get a stud this year or wait till next year till the right guy. Well, I misread that so badly. I want a stud, not a project. So if we can't get a stud this year or next, wait till the right guy comes to build this team. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna advertise reaching for a quarterback at 7. I think if Wilson's there, you take him. I think he is a stud. Even at his floor, I think he's an incredible quarterback at his floor. And again, at his ceiling, he is going to be one of the best quarterbacks this league has ever seen. And then if the Lions can develop him that way, I'd be super, excited to see that. But even, Zach Wilson at his floor I think even Zach Wilson at his floor is going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I get what you guys are saying. I'm always going to root for Stafford. I'm going to follow him where he goes. I'm obviously going to likely root for that team unless it somehow is the Chicago Bears. But I mean, I think that I think it could be a good move for this team. But I don't think it's necessarily, a make or break thing. All these teams you're talking about getting trade for Stafford would turn to Super Bowl contenders right away. So how is he the problem? He's not the problem. Stafford was not the problem in Detroit, in my opinion. I think next year is a bad year, Stafford or no Stafford. So the following year, I want to see improvement. Yeah, next year, I'm looking for just improvement next year. I saw some decent wins next season. Like I saw a couple of decent ones, but without Stafford, and if we just throw a rookie into the fire, I think it'll be hard to say because we don't know how this team looks yet for the 2021 season. But without Stafford, we're definitely looking a lot worse. So yeah, year 3, I want to see some playoff push. I think year 2 under Dan Campbell and year 3, we could definitely see a playoff push for sure. I think even year 2, with the right people coming in, depending on how our defensive coordinator is and depending on how our next quarterback develops, I think you could definitely see a playoff push 2 years from now. Trask is less mobile than Stafford. I'll pass. I mean, I wouldn't say Trask is a scrambler, but I'd say he has enough athletic ability to do what he needs to do. 3-15, hopefully 3-13. I mean, wouldn't it be 3-14 because there's 17 games next season? Yeah. So, what makes Anthony Lynn a good hire? What makes him qualified to be an OC? He called plays for half the season last time I checked. Being a leader doesn't make you a good play caller. I mean, he was the play caller in LA for a while, and their whole problem was the defense couldn't hold the lead. So he's not going to be calling the defense this time. And then he was the offensive coordinator in Buffalo, I believe, a couple years ago. So I do think he's a solid team. I think he was a former running backs coach. His teams usually have a decent rushing attack when people are healthy. So I do think he's a good hire. I do think the Anthony Lynn hire was a good one for Detroit, and I do think he'll be solid for the Detroit Lions. I really, really do. I swear every time I scroll down, it like goes down a bunch. Um, it's going to take 2 or 3 years before we are competitive. I would agree. I think next year, I'm just looking for improvement next year. I'm looking for the vision. I'm looking for where this team goes next season, more so than the win-loss record is concerned. But as Green Bay and Chicago come down, maybe we can catch a ride up. That's possible. That's very possible. Marcus had it's been 6 since we were, so that's 3 more. I don't know quite what you're talking about. I like him for some reason. Let's see. We need Mitch Trubisky. If we trade for Mitch Trubisky, I'm done as a Lions fan. The channel's going away. The channel's being deleted. I would actually be so sad if we traded for Mitch Trubisky, or if we signed Mitch Trubisky. Just absolutely not. Let's see. If you want Wilson, and I do like him, but it would take us moving up to 3 with Miami. Why 3? Oh, I guess Atlanta would take him, but I'm good with Wilson, or I'm good with Fields. And like I said earlier, if the Jets trade for Watson, if they pull the trigger on Watson, that means we're good with a quarterback at 7. We don't got to trade up at all. Does anybody know what type of offense Lynn runs? I seen he played for Mike Shanahan and coached under Bill Parcells. I'm not exactly sure what it looks like yet. And I'm not exactly sure what he's going to implement in Detroit. But from what I have seen from him, and there'll definitely be a video coming out likely tomorrow. So I'll go way more in depth. From what I've seen in the very short time I've looked into it, I do like the hire. But I'll have more information on that tomorrow for sure. If the Jets trade for Watson, the Texans would get the second pick and just draft a quarterback. So it really does. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess that's true. Unless they don't trade the number 2 overall pick, unless they give away like Sam Darnold in the 23rd or something. But I guess, yeah, that's a fair point. I would take Trey Lance as well. I'm not a big fan of Trey Lance, to be totally honest. But it is what it is, I guess. I'm not a big fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Trey Lance. But if he were the 4th quarterback on the board, I think you definitely have to consider taking him. I don't get this fan base. One mistake and the dude's out here. If Okuda gets burned, he's a bust. If Agnew doesn't dive for the first, then we had to cut him. Stafford throws a pick, and he should be traded. This fan base is tired of losing, so I get it from that standpoint. But I do think I do think we're a little critical of our players sometimes. And I try not to be, but I know on occasion I can be critical of players as well, for sure. You don't draft a quarterback this year. You just told the White Ace you're okay with going 2-14 this year. I mean, I don't think that's the case. I think if you're trying to build a team around the quarterback and then you get the quarterback implemented, but at the same time, I'm not rocking with Chase Daniels for 16 games. I did it for about a game worth of snaps last season. I'm already sick of Chase Daniel. Get him out of Detroit. So I do think we get a new quarterback next season. But I don't think that if we don't draft a quarterback at 7, I don't necessarily think it's tanking. I just think it depends what value is there at what pick. I wish Miami would switch picks and give us a later pick for Stafford. That might help. Yeah, I think that would that would definitely help, I think. Or the Jets switch picks. Yeah. 4-12. We'll have to see how this team. I mean, I think there are some good pieces that we could add to make this team semi-competitive this year. But I mean, I don't think 4-12 is going to happen. But I don't necessarily see a playoff push. I could see somewhere 6-7 wins. But again, I haven't seen Campbell coach yet. I do think this team has talent, and I do think Campbell will be a better coach. And I do think this roster and I do think this team will be better under Campbell. So, I mean, I could definitely see 6 or 7 wins, maybe. But again, I haven't seen Campbell coach. I haven't seen the coordinators call plays other than Anthony Lynn, of course. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Who should we cut from our team? I mean, there's a lot of guys you could look at to cut. Amendola, is not going to get cut. He's not under contract, but we should definitely not bring him back. I know a lot of people hate Jelani Tavai. I don't hate Jelani Tavai. I actually think in the right system, and I think even last season, the last couple of games he showed he was decent. But I think there are some guys. If I could cut Big V, I would, but I think the cap hit would be incredibly large. But if we could cut anybody, I would say Big V just to get that contract away. If Rivers makes Hall of Fame, Stafford should. I agree with that. I think Stafford's a better quarterback. I think he's a more efficient quarterback than Rivers for sure. And obviously, Rivers never won a Super Bowl either. We should trade Carryon. I mean, if you trade Carryon though, who's your second running back? Because I don't think Adrian Peterson's coming back. Obviously, you have DeAndre Swift. Then who's your second running back on the roster? You don't have one unless you want to go out and draft like maybe a Trey Sermon in the fourth or something. You want to go out and draft a late round running back. But I mean, I don't like who's going to be your second running back if you trade away KJ. And I think KJ is a good running back. I really think Carryon is a good running back, and I think he was very heavily underutilized last season. In the past couple seasons even. Stafford will not make it. Not enough big moments or titles. I think if Stafford goes somewhere, and I think if he wins a title, if he wins some good playoff games, I think he's going to make the Hall of Fame. But if he were to retire today, I don't think he would. But yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, you're saying that. It was bound to happen. I think it was. I think it was inevitable. This is a rebuild no matter if Stafford decide to play here or not. I mean, I don't fully disagree with you, but I think the rebuild is obviously going to take a little longer now without Stafford here. Trey Lance has top 10 skill set, but he plays against FBS talent. Talent. And who says he could compete in the NFL? I'm not sure if you could count on him to start as a rookie. That's kind of my thing is like, I see the potential. I see the talent and the ceiling of Trey Lance, and I do like that. But just the fact that he hasn't really played super tough competition. And then obviously, the other quarterback coming out of his school was hyped up to be the next great quarterback, and he was good for a couple seasons. And now Carson Wentz is benched for Jalen Hurts. Now Carson Wentz is going to get traded more likely than not. So, that scares me a little bit that the last big FBS quarterback to come out, hasn't really succeeded like people expected him to. And it's not even that Carson Wentz wasn't talented, right? We all saw his ceiling in the 2017 season, but he's just not. The fact that Carson Wentz developed the way he did in the NFL scares me a little bit from Trey Lance. And I know they're very different players. And I know that obviously just because Carson Wentz hasn't been the greatest doesn't mean Trey Lance can't be. But the fact that he doesn't play against great talent does scare me. But from what I have seen, I see the talent and I get why people like Trey Lance for sure. I definitely get that. What about giving Blau a chance if we don't draft a quarterback? I mean, I think Blau is a solid quarterback. I definitely think you can win with David Blau, even when he started in 2019, whenever he did start those 5 or 6 games. I do think he showed some decent talent. I do think he showed, some decent ability at quarterback. And if you don't get a quarterback, if you don't feel like the value is right at any pick, I wouldn't be super against Blau. For a season. Obviously, I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I don't think we could carry him, and I don't think he could necessarily carry us to a Super Bowl. And with the state of this roster, I don't think we'd be very successful with David Blau. But David Blau wouldn't be my last choice at quarterback. I would if it's between David Blau and Chase Daniel, I'm starting David Blau. But other than that, I'm looking for a quarterback in the draft. So if the quarterback situation stays the same, I'll play Blau. Lol, people are funny. It's a rebuild, and one Sheila Hamp knew she would have to move out pieces for year 2. Should be when we even started. Yeah, and I get that. Stafford looks nice though. I said Stafford. That staff looks nice though. I really like how Brad Campbell's building. I said Brad Cam. Oh my goodness, I'm confusing names today, people. I really like how Dan Campbell is building his regime. I really like his hires. I really like the pieces he's brought in. So that should be a really fun one. I think Anthony Lynn's a good hire. I think Aaron Glenn is a good hire. I think Brad Holmes is a good GM. I really like the staff that the Lions are putting together. And it seems like they kind of have a purpose and they kind of know what identity they want to build. But obviously, knowing what you want to build and actually physically building it are different things. So if Calvin stayed 4 more years, he would got to leave just like Stafford and win in the later part of his career. I would have liked to see Calvin traded as well. I mean, if we were gonna if Calvin wasn't gonna be here, I would have liked to see him go win something somewhere else. You said Blau is not good. I think Blau has some potential, at least for a season or two. Um, Test that lack of competition argument for Brett Favre coming out of Southern Mississippi. I mean, yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean, I'm not saying that Trey Lance can't be successful. I'm just saying how many FBS quarterbacks have come out of FBS schools and been incredibly successful. I mean, Southern Mississippi, I believe, is a D1 school. I believe it's an FCS school, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they're an FBS school, but I don't think they are. And obviously Carson Wentz hasn't found necessarily the success he was expecting in the NFL. So I'm not saying that Trey Lance can't be successful. All I'm saying is that, he hasn't shown, he hasn't played the toughest competition. So I'm not sure how he's going to look versus some of the best competition that the NFL has to offer. Obviously, every single NFL player, even the worst player on the roster that he's going to be playing against in the NFL are better than what he played on Saturdays in college football. Mahomes didn't play against real competition, and neither did Big Ben. I mean, Big Ben didn't. Patrick Mahomes played a couple of good teams, did he not? I mean, he was in the Pac-12, a Power 5 conference. So I'd say Patrick Mahomes played a decent amount, but Big V would be an 11 mil cap hit. You can't do that. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I said other than the contract, I'd love to get rid of Big V, but you can't because of the contract. I mean, I get that. And that's why we're not going to cut Big V. But if I could cut one player regardless of contract, it would definitely be him. Christian Jones. Christian Jones is who I would cut. I forgot about him. I knew I was forgetting about somebody. If I could cut one singular person from the Lions organization, it's Christian Jones. And maybe Duron Harmon. Definitely Duron Harmon too. Those are two players I really hope the Lions, I hope they don't re-sign Harmon. I hope they cut Christian Jones straight up. He's not a good linebacker. I really don't like him. Philip Lindsay's a free agent. That's an interesting look for the Detroit Lions. I think that could be real fun. You don't need to reach in the draft. I don't think we do. I don't think we can reach in the draft. I think we got to go with, the best talent because this team needs help in a lot of places. Almost play Power 5 conference is a huge jump compared to FBS. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Steve-O said it very well. Again, that doesn't mean Trey Lance can't be successful in the NFL, but that doesn't mean that, that just means he has a farther jump. Our offense is dead. No Kenny Galladay, no Marvin, no Stafford, no AP. KJ, I think, will stick around. Hawkinson and Swift are obviously still there. Our defense is dead too. Our defense is not very good. I do think our offense has some decent building blocks. Obviously, Ragnow and Decker on the offensive line are two guys you can build around for the future. Swift and TJ are guys you can build around for the future. That's four guys right there that you can build around for a very long time. I think you could build around. I think you could build around Jonah Jackson as well. So that's five guys on the offense you could build around. But yeah, the defense you don't have a lot. I mean, Tracy Walker, I think you can build around. I think Amani, you can build around. I think Okuda, you can build around. You could potentially move him to safety if you wanted to. But the offense has some more pieces than I think a lot of people, because obviously I get the skill position part of that. But a lot of games are won and lost in the trenches. And the Lions, for as much hate as they get, they've built a decent trench on the offensive line. So I do think that line will get them a decent amount of success. Coleman can be moved to free up cap. So can JJ and Carry-On and a few other guys. I wouldn't be opposed to moving Coleman. I wouldn't JJ. Am I blanking on somebody? Who's JJ? JJ. I can't think of who that would be. I can't think of anybody with the initials JJ right now. So I apologize. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm just missing somebody. But I think Carry-On could stay. I think Carry-On will be a decent backup to DeAndre, and I think he'll be a change of pace back. Fields or Wilson for me, yeah, I like both of them. We need to cut Nick Williams. Nick Williams did not do anything this year, so I wouldn't be opposed to getting rid of him. Cephas played really good for a rookie. I really like Cephas. I thought he showed a lot of flashes. I thought he was really solid as a rookie, and I think he could develop into a decent boundary guy. I think he could develop into a decent X receiver. But I also think he could be very solid in the slot just with the way he fights with the ball in his hands. You don't want Parsons anymore. Yeah, I've heard a couple negative things come out about Parsons, and he has the talent, but I don't want a guy here if I don't want a guy here if he's going to, get in trouble with the law. So I think Parsons has the talent, but obviously that whole legal situation scares me a little bit. We are building, and we know we have some decent pieces. Yeah, I think we do have some decent pieces. But again, I don't think it's enough to win outright. Fields will be gone by 4 to Atlanta. You never know. I saw a mock draft this morning that had Fields falling to the Lions because the Falcons felt like Trey Lance was the best or the third best quarterback. So it all depends on how the teams see the value. Personally, I'm definitely taking Fields over Lance, but there are teams every year that reach for a quarterback that isn't even the best in his class. I mean, you look at obviously. It's funny to say now, but back in the 2018 draft, Daniel Jones was taken at number 6 when it seemed like Dwayne Haskins was a far better option. So, teams reach, and sometimes they get different and weirder quarterbacks every single year. So I don't think it's unrealistic to think that maybe the Falcons take Lance over Fields. And if Fields somehow falls to 7, I would pray, dude. I would be so happy. I would thank every single force, and I would think whatever mysterious force, the football gods, actual gods, whatever is in charge of that, I would be so hyped if Justin Fields fell to 4. Or, obviously my number 1 is Zach Wilson. My number 2 would be Justin Fields for sure. Young pieces. So the next 3 to 4 years will be UGE building. Yeah, I think there are some young pieces and some solid pieces to build a foundation. I think the Lions have their cornerstone pieces, but now they got to obviously fill out the rest of the team with good talent around those corner pieces. Should we be worried about the lack of competition for Zach Wilson as well? I mean, but there's a difference because Zach Wilson played he played in the FCS. He played against some decent teams. He played against obviously Coastal Carolina, who was a ranked team. And I don't think he looked particularly good against Coastal, but I don't think he was bad against Coastal Carolina. He played against Boise State, who was a ranked team at college football. He played against USF, or UCF. Sorry, I always mix those things up. All those schools with the U something. I always get those confused. UCS, USF, UCF, whatever. The University of Central Florida game, their bowl game, they were a decent squad this year, and he looked incredible against them. So, I mean, Zach Wilson might not have played the greatest competition, but he played much better competition than Trey Lance did. And from what I've seen against the better competition Zach Wilson played, I still think he can be incredibly successful at the next level. And like we were talking about with, some of the other quarterbacks, the jump from BYU to the NFL is going to be much less than the jump from, North Dakota State to the NFL. So that's kind of where we're talking, as far as competition. And obviously Zach Wilson didn't play necessarily the Alabamas of the world. He didn't play the Clemsons of the world, but from, the good teams and the decent defense he did play, he looked very solid against everybody. I think the Lions would have to, I would assume, be aggressive in the draft and move up if they think Fields or Wilson is the guy. Now, they won't be around at 7. Yeah, I have a hard time believing that, and I'm really hoping that maybe Atlanta trades down. Maybe they take, Trey Lance, maybe this or that. But, Miami's not taking one. Bengals aren't taking one. Philly's not taking one. So the Lions are going to get one of the top 4 quarterbacks. I'm just really hoping it's not the 4th quarterback. But if it is the 4th quarterback, I do think Trey Lance can be successful with the right team and the right coaching staff. But again, the jump from FCS or FBS to the NFL is a little bigger than I'm hoping for. Wentz doesn't have Lance's skill set, not as mobile nor as strong of an arm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're the same quarterback. That's not necessarily what I was saying. I'm just saying, they're in a similar situation, both coming out of North Dakota State, both looking phenomenal at North Dakota State. And obviously Wentz isn't necessarily the greatest quarterback in the NFL. I like Anthony Lynn, but I don't know about Aaron Glenn, first-time DC. I mean, I like Aaron Glenn. I like the way he develops his defensive backs. And with all the capital you put into our defensive backs, I think that he could be really solid. And obviously being a former player, he knows how to build a defense. Corey, you could say, it's the same situation as Corey Unlin, but Corey Unlin never developed defensive backs like Aaron Glenn did. So I'm more optimistic about Aaron Glenn being the DC this season. And even if he's not necessarily the greatest, I do think he'll be an upgrade over Corey Unlin. And at this point, I'll take an upgrade, whether it be, 100 times better or twice as good. I'll take an upgrade every single day for this Lions team. Can Aaron Glenn bring the defensive back from the dead? Maybe we'll see. Haley is staying, and Heard Smith from Duda might join home. So that could be interesting. Trey Lance is a baby Cam Newton. I mean, Cam Newton was good for a couple years for sure. If we could get a Cam Newton, I'd be happy. I don't think he's quite on the level of Cam Newton, but I see the comparison. Calvin's body was broke. He couldn't make it 4 more years, dude. Barely was able to practice his last two. I mean, if he could have played that would have been insane. I would have loved to see Calvin play more. But I do know he was dealing with some injury stuff. What's going on, buddy? What is up, bro? How are you doing today? Trey Lance, a boomer bust quarterback. Yeah, I think he's either going to be really good or really, really bad. Obviously, Trey Lance. If I really hope Trey Lance doesn't come here for the sake of Trey Lance, because everybody's already debating whether he's good or trash. It will be the Stafford debate all over again. And I swear, if I had to go through another decade of saying Trey Lance is the guy. Trey Lance isn't the guy. Trey Lance is the reason we're losing. Trey Lance isn't the reason we're losing. He's the problem. No, he's not. If I got to go through that again for another decade, I'm done, bro. I can't do that. Like Stafford, I get a little bit. Trey Lance, we're already starting this discussion. We're already starting the argument whether he's the right quarterback or not. He's not even in Detroit. That would spark so much controversy, and I really think that will stunt his development and stunt his growth with all the arguing whether he's good or not. All the love, all the hate, the, controversy. I think that'll hurt him if Lance comes here, to be totally honest. I don't care if Lance played at a small school conference. Great quarterbacks have come from small schools. Yeah, they can. And I said that multiple times that that Trey Lance can definitely be a great quarterback in the NFL. Trey Lance, I'm not saying that just because he's from a small school, he can't be good. I'm just saying, I've seen Wilson. I've seen Wilson, and I've even seen Trask, and I've seen Fields play much better competition and thrive much more against said competition than I have seen from Trey Lance. So again, not that he can't be good, just that I've seen the other guys be good versus better competition before, and that makes me a little bit, that makes me feel a little bit safer when picking up a guy to be my franchise quarterback for, hopefully a very long time. Favre got to sit for 2 years before he started. I'm just saying Trey Lance isn't a for sure thing. He's got the most questions. Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure. And that's why I wanted the Lions to keep Stafford. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Obviously, it sucks to see Stafford go, and I really would have liked to see him stay and groom the next quarterback for a year or two. But that's not going to be the case anymore. And I don't know if we're going to bring in a veteran. I don't know where the Lions are going with this, but it'll be interesting to see where the next quarterback comes from. Lions have to go with a dual threat quarterback. I would like to see a quarterback with some mobility, but I wouldn't say he has to be like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, a dual threat. But I would say a guy that can get out of the pocket and a guy that can make plays with his legs, a guy like on Russell Wilson's caliber. I wouldn't say Russell Wilson is a guy that you're going to run. Russell Wilson's not a guy that you're afraid is going to rush for 1,000 yards a season, but he's a guy that can extend plays, a guy that can get out of the pocket, and a guy that can be mobile enough and dual threat enough to make good plays down the field. So I would definitely like to see a new dual threat quarterback in Detroit, but I don't think he has to be on the same level as Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray. So yeah, I think that'll be very interesting. Nick Williams will get you 1.5. Matt Stafford is in the building. Everybody say hi to Matt Stafford. Thank him for his contributions on the way out. Yes, I know it's not the real Matt Stafford, or I'm assuming it's not the real Matt Stafford. If it is the real Matt Stafford, hey, feel free. Hit me up on if you are the real Matt Stafford, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, make an account, let me know. It'd be really cool to meet you if you're real. I know you're not real, but if you were the real Matt Stafford, feel free to hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. That could be really cool. I'd love to meet you. You're my favorite player ever, so that would be really cool. What do you think the Lions get for Stafford in a trade? I think it depends what team you're talking about. I think if you're looking at the Chicagos or the Indianapolises, you're gonna get a lot more for Stafford, versus a team like maybe Denver, who has a little bit longer ways to go to be successful, or guys like maybe Dallas potentially, who might have a little bit farther ways to go. So I think depending on which team you're talking about is gonna determine the trade value, because I think I do think Washington and I do think Indianapolis will be willing to give up a first round pick. Whereas I don't think Denver's going to give up number 9 for number 9. You know what I mean? I don't think Dallas gives up number 10 for Stafford. I don't think San Fran maybe gives up number 12 for Stafford. So I think a later first round pick could be a realistic thing for Stafford to get. I think Stafford's definitely worth a first round pick and a little bit more. So I could see like a first and maybe a fourth, maybe a first and a third if a team's really desperate and thinks Stafford is that one missing piece. But I think I do think there are some teams looking for a quarterback. And I think if those a couple of teams kind of get into a bidding war, Stafford could see his price go up a little bit more. So I think a mid to late first round pick and then maybe a later round pick could be a fair value for Matt Stafford. Nick Bolton and Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa. I think those are solid linebackers. I think they're okay. Obviously there are other guys I'd take over them, like I'd take Parsons over them. I think even with his whole problem off the field, I would take Zaven Collins over them 100%. Azeez Ojulari is more of an edge rusher, but he's technically listed at linebacker. I would take him. I really like Azeez. So there are some other guys, but I don't think those guys are bad necessarily. I'm not happy. This was the wrong move for the Lions. I don't think the Lions wanted this to happen, though. I think Stafford, from what I've heard and from what I've read, Stafford approached the Lions about a potential trade because he was sick of being here. And whether you want to put that on Stafford, whether you maybe want to put that on Kelly Stafford for, not necessarily being the happiest and very publicly not being happy in Michigan, I think it's, I don't think it was all on the Lions. I think Stafford wanted a trade, or Stafford requested a trade, or requested them to at least look into trading him. And the Lions, at the very least, owed Stafford that. And they owe Stafford the ability and the opportunity to go win somewhere else. We need someone mobile and not a statue. I'm salivating at the thought of a read option offense. And Stafford, I wouldn't say is a statue. Stafford definitely has a little athletic ability to get out and to, pick up a couple yards. I'm not saying obviously he's not a mobile quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a dual threat. But I wouldn't say Stafford's a statue. And I wouldn't say there are many quarterbacks left in the NFL that are quote unquote statues. Tom Brady is a statue. Ben Roethlisberger, I would say you could make that argument. Drew Brees, pretty much a statue in the NFL. Other than that, there's not a ton of quarterbacks that I would consider statue quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, maybe, but even he, I've seen him pick up a couple first downs on runs. Like, I'm not saying Stafford's a mobile quarterback by any means, but I wouldn't say there are that many statues left in the NFL. And the ones that are those statues that are left in the NFL are relatively older quarterbacks and guys that just have lost all their athletic ability because, the human body sucks. People are sleeping on Lance. I see the hype around Lance, and I get the hype around Trey Lance. Personally, I don't like Trey Lance. Not that I don't like him. I don't like him as much as some of the other guys. He's at the very best my fourth quarterback. But I think people are not as high on Lance as some. The argument around Trey Lance is very controversial, and some people love him, some people hate him. I'm very much in the middle. I like his ceiling, I like his talent, but the whole competition thing does scare me a bit. I want Lawrence, which is not going to happen, or Wilson, which has the potential of happening. The rest are busts. If not, we might as well draft like 3 quarterbacks in the later rounds and hope we hit. I think Justin Fields is going to be very solid. I think Trey Lance has the potential in the right situation to be very solid. I think Kyle Trask has the potential to be very solid in the NFL. I'm not going to say any of them are busts. And I know people hate on Ohio State quarterbacks, but, Justin Fields is a very good quarterback. He's a very athletic, very tough, very smart, very dedicated quarterback. The only reason I think Dwayne Haskins didn't work out is because he wasn't dedicated enough. And I think obviously the whole, his situation in Washington was rocky from the start. I think Justin Fields has all the tools, but I also think he has the mindset to be a great quarterback in the NFL. Every time he's faced adversity, every time he's gone through something, he's come back stronger than ever. And I do think Justin Fields will be a very good quarterback in the NFL. I really do. Zach Wilson is a 1 year starter. Like, you think he's just going to be starting for 1 year and then be done in the NFL? Or were you saying he's a year one starter and you just messed up the order there? I love Lance, but I would actually be okay with any of the top 4. Yeah, I would be. I think I had to do more research on Trey Lance. Trey Lance is the only one of the big four quarterbacks that I'm not super familiar with. I've watched Lawrence a lot. I've watched Justin Fields a lot. Obviously, I just watched a lot of Zach Wilson this past week. So I'll have to do a lot more watching on Trey Lance. From what I have seen, I really like him. From what I have seen, I get the hype and I get where everybody's coming from when they say draft Trey Lance. And I don't think the Lions would be wrong if they went with any of the big four. But I don't, we'll have to wait and see. I would be okay with any of them, I think. And I don't think any of them are bad options per se. Mock draft that had Lance at 4 was Daniel Jeremiah. He always does outrageous mocks to get clicks. He also had Sewell fall into the Cowboys at 10. I mean, I just saw it scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you guys hadn't noticed, I got a haircut this morning. They just so happened to have it on, and I looked up and I saw Trey Lance at 4. So I didn't see who put it up. I was just throwing that out there that I did see that. I'll be interested to see what we do at quarterback, but I want to build this team. I think building the surrounding team, I think building the surrounding pieces is going to help this team more than drafting a quarterback. And I get quarterbacks the most important position, but if you're looking at one position over the other 21 starters on the team, 25 if you count the kicker, long snapper, and punter. If you're looking, obviously quarterback's the most important position, but building up the other 21 pieces on the offense and defense is going to be more important for this team to be successful, in my opinion. Personally, no matter who the rookie quarterback is, he should sit for a year, come in during blowouts, and start the game. I think, in my opinion, this is how I see the Lions going with this. I think they draft a rookie quarterback, whether that be Trey Lance, whether that be Zach Wilson, somehow, whether that be Justin Fields, or whether maybe Trevor Lawrence on draft night has a video of him smoking something he's not supposed to. Whichever quarterback falls to number 7, I think the Lions will get a veteran quarterback in free agency. I think they will do exactly what the Chargers did last year, where they're going to start the veteran for the first couple of weeks, and they're going to, practice with the rookie. They're going to play him in, they didn't play Justin Herbert in preseason games, obviously, because there was no preseason, but I think they're going to do what the Chargers did. Ironically enough, obviously ironic with Anthony Lynn there, I do think that they're going to play a veteran quarterback for the first couple of weeks. And when they feel comfortable putting in the rookie quarterback, whether that be Lance, whether that be Wilson, whether that be Fields, I think once they feel comfortable a couple weeks into the season, once they see what they have with this team, I think the rookie quarterback takes over somewhere, early, middle of the season, somewhere in there between weeks like 3 and 7, 3 and 8, somewhere in there. I could see the rookie quarterback taking over and coming back and coming into the fold and really see see what he has for the rest of his rookie season. I think we could see a very similar arc to what we saw with Justin Herbert this season. We have a good OC that's good at developing quarterbacks. I mean, he did a very good job with Justin Herbert, so that makes me incredibly excited for sure. Why are people sleeping on Lance? Enlighten me, and we'll get to that later, I'm sure. We just got John Dorsey. Did we really? Hold up. All right. Live breaking news, maybe. I was going to go to the DSA chat. I don't want to do that. Y'all don't need to see that stuff. Let's see. We just got John Dorsey. Are you being serious? Because that would be very interesting. And I'm going to pause for just a second as we reload Twitter. Did we really just get John Dorsey? Because if so, that's really good. So we'll have to take a look at that. We'll be looking through. Can you tell me where you found that just to see so I can check? I'd be super excited. Oh, here we go. All right, Mr. Tom Pelissero. What do we got for him? The Lions are expected to add former Chiefs and Browns GM John Dorsey as a senior personnel executive, one of the NFL's best evaluators, and his experience to the front office to a first-time tight end. Oh, boy, that's a solid hire right there. I mean, as they said, one of the NFL's best evaluators adds experience. That's incredible. That's very good. Man, wow. That's a big hire. Way to go, One Pride, keeping up with the news for us. Good stuff, buddy. I love that. Are you being serious? Yes, sir. Stafford to New Orleans, probably. Jamal, I don't think they're going to trade for him just because, the Saints are dealing with some cap space issues. Man, that John Dorsey news is really, really big. I love what the Lions are doing other than the Stafford trade. Everything else this year, everything else in this offseason has been so solid. And then we go out and trade Stafford. Oh, my goodness. The Lions are up to some interesting stuff. Yes, they are, Dr. Detroit. Yes, they are. Anthony Lynn helped Herbert so much. Lions can't go wrong with any of the top 4 picks. I hope you're right. But obviously, with his development of Herbert, last year Herbert was the guy with the big arm, with the big potential, but maybe potentially the low ceiling with the turnovers in college. And Anthony Lynn did a very good job with Herbert. So, hopefully we can do that the same thing. So is he GM or co-GM? Dr. Detroit, he's a senior personnel executive. So yeah, take that for what you will. John Dorsey as an assistant GM is a good hire to help Holmes. Dorsey did a good job building the Browns. He did a very good job building the Browns. And I don't know when he was with the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are obviously a very good organization as well. Sorry, I didn't click on the comment. That's really big. That's crazy. I should probably change the title of the live stream, but I'm not sure how to do that while I'm live. So we'll just keep it with the whole Stafford thing. Senior personnel executive is what they called it. Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to be helping with a lot, especially with a first-time GM. Oh, man, I'm really hyped about that. So one guy focuses on drafting, the other focuses on all the other stuff. Smart move. I mean, I don't know how they're going to split up duties, but I am excited. Whoa. This is huge for the Lions organization. This is very big for the Detroit Lions. So pretty much assistant GM Pelissero said he will help with free agency and trades. Yeah, that's just about it. Man, that makes the future a bit more exciting for the Lions, doesn't it? Matt doesn't have I know he doesn't have a social media. I know he doesn't. That's why I said I know it's fake, because Matt Stafford doesn't have, obviously Instagram or YouTube. Well, maybe he has a YouTube. But I doubt he'd be on my channel. But if he were on my channel, that would be goated. That would be sick. If I got to meet Matt Stafford, if I could meet one Lions player, I think it would be Stafford. That would be really cool. Do you think the Colts first pick is enough? I think the Colts first pick, and I think a late round pick, like a 4th or potentially a 3rd, would be fair value for Stafford. But I don't think the first straight up would be enough. But I think if the Lions give up Stafford in like their 6th in return for the Colts first and maybe a 4th, I think that would be very fair value for Matt Stafford. The only Stafford that goes on social media is Kelly. Yeah, I know it. They split responsibilities up for GM. That's huge news. Oh my God. I'm so excited about that. Woo! I'm going to smile the rest of the time, man. I am excited. Dorsey will possibly focus on pro scouting while Holmes does college scouting. That could definitely be part of it. Provide the youth guy with direction. Oh, this is a really good move. This is a very solid move. This almost makes up for the whole Stafford phenomena. Where do you guys see Dorsey? If you go on Twitter right now to Tom Pelissero's account, or pretty much every member of the DSA is tweeting it out as well. I know Real Detroit Lions fans just posted it. So, Ryder needs to take a breath and breathe. I'm just excited, man. I'm just excited. I'll try my best. Lions are building a pretty good staff. The Lions, in my opinion, are building a very, very good staff. The Lions just hired Dorsey, massive W. I think so. I'm sorry, Dr. Detroit. I'll try my very best. I'm just excited. I sometimes talk incredibly fast. And sometimes I stumble over my words. So that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yep, I wanted him as our GM because he built up the Browns and the Chiefs. Him and Holmes are fire. I love this pickup. I'm so excited for this. Finally, the truth has come out. So you guys remember yesterday when the Lions were like, yeah, there's some news coming out in the front office. And then they announced the offensive coordinator hire. And I was like, oh, that must have been the news. And then they released the Stafford news. And I was like, oh, that must have been it actually. And now they're, releasing this news about John Dorsey. So the Lions have had a lot to cover. And I don't know how or when. I don't want to be late on any of this news. So tomorrow might just be a big old recap. It might not. I might split it up. But man, the Lions are having a lot of news come out of the building, and a lot of it is incredibly good. George blah, 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 blah. Fields is a Georgia quarterback. I would say he's an Ohio State quarterback because that's where all of his success comes from. But he's from Georgia, obviously. Sheila building a great staff. I don't know if it's Sheila. I don't know if it's Rod Wood. I don't know if it's Chris Spielman. I don't care who it is. Whoever is in charge is building a phenomenal staff in Detroit. Holmes and Dorsey are like Voltron together. They make a great GM. That's a funny analogy. This is an SOL. Holy cow. I get it, man. Great timing. You think they planned that all the way? I actually planned that. The Lions actually let me know prior that they were gonna do this, so I planned my stream around it. Because I have connections like that, so I knew this was gonna happen the entire time. I was just being quiet about it to so that everybody else could figure out first and they could get excited. Dr. Detroit. That's how that all went down. Or the Lions are watching my channel. Maybe the Lions are actually tuned in. Maybe that Matt Stafford account was just Sheila Ford, or maybe that was just the Detroit Lions hanging around on their second account. All three guys you mentioned are 3-4 outside linebackers at the next level. After the two I mentioned are 4-3 linebackers. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, right now I'm looking at talent more so than scheme fit. But yeah, I get what you're coming from. I told you Sheila's different. Hey, I've been on the Sheila hype train since she took over, man. I've been on that Sheila hype train. Lance at 7, Devontae at 9, which means you would have us trading with the Eagles. Nope, have us trading with Denver. For Matt Stafford, I would assume. Resign Kenny Galladay, Barmore at top of the second. That could be a real interesting one. And with Stafford's contracts now being off the books, we could actually resign Kenny Galladay if we just backload the contract. I know we aren't going to have a ton of money this year, but we're going to have a lot of money freed up next year from that whole Stafford thing. So we could re-sign Kenny Galladay at this point with Stafford being off the books if we just kind of gave Kenny a smaller deal in his first season, a smaller contract for the first year, and then backloaded the contract the last couple of years. So he still gets all of his money, but obviously we wait for some of the cap space to clear up with the dead cap and all of that happening. With Holmes and John Dorsey, I think we will build a winner. I mean, if these two guys can't build a winner, I feel like it'll be hard to get somebody else. Get Smith or Newton for a year. Smith. Like Alex Smith, I would assume is who the Smith was, and obviously Cam Newton. I wouldn't be mad at either of those. Obviously it would I wouldn't be mad at Cam Newton. I would actually take Cam Newton for a year. I think he's not the quarterback he used to be, obviously, but he's still a solid quarterback. I think he still has some potential. Not the MVP frontrunner he once was, and then Alex Smith I still think is really solid. So I would not be mad at either of those moves, to be totally honest. Let's see, Dr. Detroit. I have met Sheila, and she has a fire in her, and you actually feel it when you talk to her. It's not a I'm better than you think either. You met Sheila Ford-Hamp. That's really cool, bro. That's really solid. That's kind of awesome. Dr. Detroit says yes. Now people are getting on board to hey, I'm gonna be here no matter what. But hey, this hiring makes me a bit more excited about the next couple of years. I have two. I work with the Fords law. Y'all need to like invite me to whatever house party the Fords are throwing. Y'all can like invite me sometime, and I'd be so down to go. No, they are all extremely humble people, very kind and down to earth. That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Tom Pelissero, I would assume that's talking about something else, unless Tom Pelissero posted something else. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything. I see my boy Luke out here. Um, I don't see anything right now from Tom Pelissero, but if something pops up, I'll definitely be sure to let everybody know. No matter what, the Lions will need to sign a veteran quarterback to show a rookie how a professional quarterback handles his day in business. Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. That's what we were talking earlier about maybe Alex Smith or Cam Newton, depending. Yeah, they need an NFL example. I think that's very, very true. Yeah, she was actually incredible, awesome towards us. I have been around her a few times work related. You guys get so many cool jobs to meet the Fords. That would be so cool to meet like Sheila or actually that'd be really cool to meet anybody that has worked with the Lions before. I know a couple people at the Lions and I've talked to a couple people with the Lions, but I mean, that would be so cool. Getting rid of Stafford is the best move so far, guy. That's not true. Um, I didn't work for her per se, but I've done a lot of work for her. I can't really say that's fine. I'm not asking for more details or anything like that. I just think it's very cool that you have had an opportunity to meet the owner of the Detroit Lions. I think that'd be very, very cool. I wasn't asking for details. That wasn't what I was trying to do at all. All these moves better come with a positive results for real. Yeah, they better. Next year, I don't know how this team is going to look next year, but come year 2, come year 3, I have a feeling this team is going to be really, really solidly built and very well coached with a couple years of experience under every coach's belt. With the team that these two are going to build, Dorsey and Holmes, this is going to be a very good team in a couple of years. You can't say this offseason has been boring. No, you can't. The last word I would use to describe this offseason is it would be boring. That's not. Yeah, this offseason is far from boring. That's the last thing it would be. This is also SOL would be the last term I would use. This is a good one. I mean, Dan Campbell, fiery guy, young coaching staff, fun coaching staff. John Dorsey coming in to help. This is awesome. Franchise tag Galladay, that would be a lot of money. I think they could make it work, but it would definitely take some financial maneuvering. Our cap situation, the Lions can move out enough garbage from the defense with Stafford and scrap up around 33 mil, give or take from what I saw. That's a decent amount to work with, to be fair. That's a decent amount of cap to go into stuff with. Transition tag Kenny, if we keep him, yeah, I would say that would probably work. Franchises top 5. Yeah, I believe the franchise tag for wide receivers this year is $19 million or 18 point something. It's really high. It's a lot of money. James Willis asked, did we sign John Dorsey? We actually did. We did sign John Dorsey. I found, here's the tweet right here. I'll pull it back up. The Detroit Lions, or excuse me, the hashtag Lions are expected to add former Chiefs and Browns general manager John Dorsey as a senior personnel executive. Per sources, one of the NFL's best evaluators as experience to the front office of a first-time general manager. We did in fact sign John Dorsey, and I could not be more excited about it. Anybody that's been here the last couple of minutes will tell you that I'm just about hyperventilated because I was excited and talking a little too fast. Dr. Detroit, well, maybe this will put everyone on the same page now. I hope so, man. I'm hoping so. This team I think they have some pieces. And with John Dorsey, with Brad Holmes being a good college scout, with Anthony Lynn being a solid OC, with Aaron Glenn being better because it can't be worse, with him being better than Corey Unlin, this team has a bright future, man. This team has a bright future. Holy cow. I mean, I thought this team had a bright future even under Quinn Trisha, but my goodness, now with these hires and this coaching staff, whoa, it is going to be a fun couple of months going forward. There's a lot of news. And as a Lions content creator, I could not be more excited to talk about this and make videos on this stuff. I'm excited, man. This should be a very fun one. Doctor, it won't. People will still be heartbroken. I mean, I'm still upset. I'm still sad about Matt Stafford, but this news coming out definitely helps soften the blow because the Lions are losing a franchise quarterback. Yeah, they're losing their guy, the most wins by a quarterback in franchise history, the most, passing yards, the most passing touchdowns, all that stuff. It's great. And I would love Stafford to stay around for a couple more years. I'd love him to retire. When he does end up retiring, I really hope we sign him to one of those one-day contracts so he can retire a Lion. But regardless, I wish Stafford the best. I wish him the best in his efforts going forward. I hope that he has a phenomenal rest of his career. I hope he can go to a complete team. I hope he goes to a Saints. I hope he goes to a Washington and he goes and gets, his ring. I hope he goes and gets his playoff wins. Hope he goes and gets his signature wins. I'm wishing the very best for Stafford. I really, really am. But We'll have to wait and see. I really hope Stafford finds success somewhere else in the NFL, but it'll be fun to watch. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna go grab myself a water for just like 2 seconds. I'll be back. Give me like 2 minutes. Alrighty, I am back, people. What is going on? Any more comments? I'm seeing a couple people leaving. Less comments are showing up. We got no more comments on the video right now. So I don't know if that just means y'all are tired. I don't know if y'all are just going somewhere else to watch your content. I don't know what is going on, but this is exciting stuff, man. This is some exciting news for the Detroit Lions. John Dorsey coming to Detroit, Aaron or Anthony Lynn coming to Detroit. Man, it is a fun time. Love the fact we're getting John Dorsey. Me too. I'm so excited for this, man. On Washington, I think it's possible, but Kelly is a conservative. And that fan base already has problems with, I forgot the kid's name at quarterback. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where Stafford moves. So what do you think about the move so far? I'm super excited about it. Well, not hate. I'm disappointed about the whole Stafford thing. I'm kind of upset that Stafford has to leave, but you know what? I'm happy with the rest of it. I'm happy with the rest of the offseason. I'm happy with the way the Lions are building this team. I'm really happy the way that they've put this team, or put this coaching staff, I should say, together, put this new regime together. And it's not saying it's an upgrade over the last one would be the understatement of the century. So hopefully this guy helps us get our next quarterback. I think with him and with Brad Holmes, I think they'll be able to identify exactly what quarterback they want. And I think either with the assets they get from acquiring, or with the assets they acquire from trading Stafford, or just whether they feel they can sit and get their guy at 7, they're gonna find their quarterback. They're gonna get their quarterback, and I think they're gonna move into the future with the guy they truly feel is the best quarterback in the class. Sheila wasn't playing around this time. Sheila has not been playing around at all. Sheila took over this job. She gave Matt Patricia his due diligence. She's like, yeah, we'll give you a third season. We'll see how it pans out. We will see how it goes. You're bringing in all these guys. We struggled with tongue injury last year. We'll see how it goes. She fired him as soon as she could. She gave him his due diligence. She gave him the time he needed. He did not deliver. She released him. She fired his butt. She fired Bob Quinn. She brought in the replacements that are already doing better things. It's a fantastic thing to see. Sheila's not playing around, man. This is Sheila Hamp's first time. Yeah, it is her first time doing this. This is her first time going through it, and it's better than just about. I don't know. Sorry, Martha. If you're listening, sorry, Martha. This is better than just about everything you've been doing. So I mean, Sheila is a different man. Sheila's a different owner. Sheila's a different person. Sheila is building her own way. Sheila's building her own division, bro. We're gonna be running this division in a couple of years. I have a feeling. I think this team is going to be incredibly good, and they're going to get very good in a couple of years. Do you think they will let go of Hammer Dan? I don't know what the cap hit would be for Daniels, but if it's not unbearable, if it's not like a ridiculous cap thing, I would like to see them release Daniel and go out and get a different veteran quarterback who can at least, run a semi decent offense. I can see us moving up to 3 to grab Wilson. I wouldn't be opposed to moving up. I don't want to, sell everything. I don't want it to be like a Ricky Williams situation where we give up all of our picks to move up to 3. But I think for the right value, I would definitely be happy about moving up, and I would definitely want us to move up for the right value. And if we can get Wilson at the 3rd overall pick, assuming he doesn't go at number 2, then I think that you could then I think you could definitely make that decision to move up with Miami. Move them down 4 spots when they don't even need a quarterback. Move them down 4 spots and get your guy without maybe having to give up as much draft capital because Miami Dolphins already have another first round pick and they wouldn't be moving down very far. I can definitely see a scenario where we move up to number 3 to grab Wilson. I just don't want us to break the bank and go up 4 or 5 picks just to move up 4 or 5 spots. Steve-O says it really feels a lot different with Sheila in charge. And this is the first time I've seen the Lions really build a staff, coaches and front office. It feels like Sheila is serious about winning. She said she's serious about winning. She has shown that she is serious about winning. And with all the names, everything that's going on, everything that's happening in Detroit right now, it feels like she is willing to do just about anything to win. And I think Dan Campbell mentioned this. She has a fire. You can call me Funk, and Dr. Detroit said this. She has a fire, man. She just is a good person. She's a winner. I know we talked about this a lot when she took over. She's always been successful. She's always a determined person. Everywhere she's been, everything she's done, she's been good at. And apparently, running an organization, running an NFL team isn't even a challenge for her. Isn't even different. She's gonna be good at that just the same. This is an NBA All-Star front office. I mean, that's not the worst comparison. Love your content, man. Keep it up. I appreciate that, man. I'm doing my very best. I try to get the best content out to you guys. I love doing it. I love that you guys are here supporting, showing up, showing out. So thank you all for showing up, because without you guys, I'm not here right now talking about this. Looney Tune, what's going on, dude? How you doing today? Glad you can make it. Glad you can show up. What vet QB? Obviously, I know it says what veteran quarterback out there in free agency this year do you think would be the best fit for our new staff? Well, let me go see NFL 2021 free agents. Let's just see. I usually use Spot Trick for a lot of my stuff when it comes to free agents and sometimes with contract stuff. So we'll see as this loads. I don't know everybody available. I know Cam Newton's has been thrown around a bit. I know that obviously Alex Smith was thrown around a little bit. So I'll get back to your question as soon as this decides to load. But obviously, streaming and doing all this is going to make things a little tighter. A little slower. Time to put Motown back on the map. Hey, that's the goal of Dan Campbell. That's what he said his goal was. Put Motor City back on the map. And that seems like that's what they're trying to do, man. And we kept Farley. What? Oh, Farley, I know we kept the O-line coach. That was really big too. But yeah, Farley. Yeah, that was a good one. All righty. Let's see. We'll go that's not what I was looking for. Is there all positions, obviously. So let's go quarterback. Let's see what they got here. Can you guys see that? I just want to make sure you guys are. Dang, it's really slow. Oh my goodness. It's lagging. I'm behind. 6 reasons. You don't need to see that. That's so fine. That's an advertisement. I don't need to be showing that. I'd like Taylor Heineke, says 313 close. I wouldn't mind Taylor Heineke. I think he showed some good things in Washington. Dr. Detroit says the linebacker from Chicago and the linebacker from Denver. Gotcha. Okay. The Lions never been on, so how can you go back? I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. I wonder if the Lions could get Mariota from the Raiders for cheap. That could be an interesting hire. That could be something to take a look at. I think you'd have to trade for him because he's under contract, but I don't think he's necessarily a bad option. I think he'd be a good bridge quarterback, maybe even a Tannehill career revival. I mean, I think it's definitely possible. I think we could definitely see something along those lines. I told you Stafford was out. I didn't necessarily disagree that Stafford was going to be out. I just didn't think he should have been kicked out. But, I mean, he also asked for the trade. It's not like the Lions kicked him out. I mean, he approached them about a trade. So, I Obviously, it hurts me to say that Stafford's gone, and I shed a couple of tears last night. And I woke up this morning and prayed and hoped that the what I saw last night was a dream, but it wasn't. Stafford was actually traded, and that really hurt. But it sucks, but it is what it is. Um, That's the guy Wash is crying about being pro-Trump. I'm actually arguing with a guy in another video about. I'm not gonna get into all that. I'm not gonna get into politics. I'm not gonna get into all that stuff. That's for other people. Let's see. Where are all the people that told me I was crazy when I said the Lions wouldn't start building a good team until Stafford was gone? I mean, I don't think they're building a good team because Stafford's gone. They've been building this staff for one. I mean, obviously they didn't just wake up this morning and be like, "Ah, ha, ha, Stafford's gone. Let's go get John Dorsey." Like that didn't happen. Obviously, I don't know why they just refused to build around Stafford. I'm not sure why they felt that was a good option, but I mean, they didn't. And as much as I'm going to miss Stafford, I'm really hoping they can finally get some good people around. I'm hoping that this new staff, and I'm really expecting this new staff to be some good stuff. Maybe it ain't all doom and gloom. I never said it was all doom and gloom, but Stafford, the thing kind of pushed me a little bit down, but everything else is pushing me back up. You said put Motor City back on the map. How can you get back when you were never there? I mean, they were a very good team a long time ago. Once upon a time, the Detroit Lions were a very good football team. So, yeah. Once upon a time, the Lions were very good. Obviously, wasn't in my lifetime, wasn't in any of your lifetimes, but back in the early days of the NFL, they were the best team in the NFL, winning championships. So we should have known Stafford was out when he sold his house. Lol, it's possible. Um, let's see. Can we go back to somebody asked a question earlier? What veteran quarterbacks are available. Dak Prescott's available. Tyrod Taylor's available. I've seen that name thrown around a couple times. I'm pretty sure maybe he's not. I was very certain Cam Newton was available. Jacoby Brissett is available. He's been a starter in the NFL before. He could be an interesting option. Um, so there are a couple quarterbacks out there. So we should have known. Yeah. Okay, so we're back here. And Kelly is not a left wing supporter. She just asked about. Again, I'm not getting into politics. That's just not how that's going to go today. Not getting into that. John Dorsey. Yeah, we signed John Dorsey. That's a big, or we're expected to. I don't know if it's official yet. Um, I'm not going to get into politics. That's not my scene. That's not my style. I can't even vote. So that's not how that's going to work today. I think we can rule out San Francisco because it's a way. Hey, I don't think we're ruling out anything yet. Whoever's the highest bidder is who I'm sending Stafford to. If I'm the Lions, whoever the highest bidder is all we got. Well, get back up. Stafford is not the team. Use your own logic. What do you mean? Stafford's not the team. I mean, it sucks to hear Stafford go. It sucks to see him go, but I think it'll open up some opportunities. Um, so, the selling of the house actually had to do with one of his daughters falling into the pool down south. Yeah, I heard it was more for safety things because they had a bunch of little kids. But maybe this was writing on the wall. Who knows? Newton Taylor, any sack will do for a year to get pounded. Hey, I don't even think they'll play for a whole year, but I think Taylor would be cool. I'd take Jacoby Brissett. Actually, I think Jacoby Brissett could be a decent bridge quarterback to the next guy. He's been a starter. He's been a backup. He's played every role a quarterback can play. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe saw Jacoby Brissett enter the mix. You need to do your research, son. Well, I appreciate your concern, but I actually do a ton of research. Stafford and the organization agree to the decision before all of these hires. I mean, but that doesn't mean I didn't do research. I just said that. I mean, they've been doing all these different things. They are not. They didn't just wake up one morning and say, "Ha, Stafford's gonna get traded. Let's go build a good team." Finally, that didn't happen. And if you think that's how it went down, you're delusional. So I appreciate your concern for my ability to do research, but I don't remember asking. Somebody was saying Fitzpatrick was available. I don't know if that's true. Well, right here, I don't know if you can read the names. I hope you guys can see it. I don't know if you can or not. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a free agent this year, according to this website. So hopefully that's the case. But with the way Miami was going last season, I don't know if they're gonna want to let. I don't know if they're gonna look for a different guy. I don't know where their faith is in Tua. But that would be he would be a good bridge quarterback. Yeah, I think so. I think he would be solid. I wish somebody would bring back Colin Kaepernick back. Would be nice if we see him. If we could snag him or Dak, Jacoby Brissett, Def would be a good quarterback signing too. I mean, my whole thing with Colin Kaepernick is he just hasn't played in a long time. It's not the politics. His whole kneeling thing that doesn't bother me as much as it does some people. For me, Colin Kaepernick hasn't played in so long, and even the last time he was playing, I mean, he wasn't even particularly that good. So that's my thing is like if I felt Colin Kaepernick could truly help this team be better, I would 100% be down for signing him. But I don't think he's gonna make this team better. I miss Cam Newton. He's right here. So yeah, Cam Newton is there. I just happened to look over and see that. I heard Lions also interviewed Deuce Staley. I did too. I heard they were definitely looking at him. I think Stafford knew this was the last season in Detroit before it even started. I don't know if he knew when the season began, but I would assume once all the injuries started piling up and once they started losing a lot more, I would assume he kind of had the idea in the back of his mind where he was like, all right, I don't want to go through another rebuild. I don't want to do this again. I love playing for Detroit. I love the city. He said that so many times. But I don't think Stafford, I don't think he wanted to go through another rebuild. I just don't think he wanted to go through that process again for the fifth time in his career. He didn't want to do that again. So I think that for him, it makes the best, or I think for him, it makes the most sense to move on. Is Deuce Staley a running backs coach? I don't believe so. For whatever reason, I want to say no, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Um, this spelled it wrong. I can't spell, dude. That's fine. Football coach. Oh yeah, he is a running back and linebackers coach. Um, So yeah. I heard that name thrown around a little bit. Yeah, I like the fireback. Don't get mad. It's just nah. I'm not bad. I'm not mad. Colin Kaepernick can come and get a pounding for a year. I don't care. League minimum if he survives. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. I trust Dorsey when it comes to a quarterback. I think with him and Holmes, they'll find a good quarterback. They'll find their way around. They'll get the right guys in. He is a running backs coach, I think, on the Eagles. Yeah, he is. He is for sure. I just looked it up. So, yep, he is a running backs coach for the Eagles. And John Dorsey, the one advising them all along, they counseled him before, and I'm sure of it. Yeah, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. Titan says, "Do you think getting Deshaun Watson is a possibility?" I don't think so. Would I be opposed to getting Deshaun Watson? It depends on the value both sides receive and what value both sides give up. I don't think it's possible. I don't think Deshaun wants to come here. And it's not that he's trying to get out of Houston because they lost. He's getting out of Houston because he doesn't like the organization. He doesn't like the owners. He doesn't like the front office. But he wants to go to the Jets, and I think that I think he'll get traded to the Jets, but I think it's possible, but I don't think it's likely. I think anything's possible. No on cap, dude has been out for what 5? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, even when he was playing, he wasn't incredible, but I don't want Carson Wentz. I would never trade Stafford for Wentz. What's up, real Detroit Lions fans? I'm sad about Stafford too, man. We've been talking about that for a while. I'm still sad about Stafford. I don't want Carson Wentz though, to the guy from before. All I ask is that the Lions don't focus on trying to replace Stafford and focus on building this team as a whole. Build the defense and get another running back with Swift, and we will see a fast rebuild. I think so. I think I obviously replacing Stafford is important. Obviously, getting the next quarterback, getting another big quarterback is important to this organization. It's important to get your franchise quarterback, but obviously, as I said earlier, the other 21 starters on the offense is more important than your quarterback. Because if you have a solid 21 starters, but you have an average quarterback, you're going to be far more successful than an elite quarterback with below average talent all around him. So I think building the rest of the roster is more important. But I do think getting the next quarterback is important as well. Um, So yeah, I was just reading Twitter for a second. It would be. I hope I don't get in trouble for this whole HBO Max thing. I'm gonna switch just so I don't like. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for that. It would be a lateral move for Watson to come here. Yeah, it would be. We still need a franchise quarterback. I'm not saying we don't need a franchise quarterback. All I'm saying is, I do think surrounding our next quarterback with a good staff and surrounding our next quarterback with a good team around him is going to be more beneficial. Is going to be more beneficial for the team than forcing yourself to get that next quarterback just to do exactly what we just got done doing with Matt Stafford. Taysom Hill for a conditional seventh. Do we have our seventh round pick? I don't think we do. I think we only have rounds 1 through 5. But maybe, I don't know. Dr. Detroit says people are saying we could get 2 firsts for Stafford and then some, depending on Watson. I think the Watson trade is going to dictate a little bit the Stafford trade. I don't know who gets traded first. I don't know if Stafford goes before Watson. I don't know if Watson goes before Stafford. I think Stafford will be a bit cheaper than Watson as far as like a capital value from trading around. I think Watson's better than Stafford. I think obviously much more mobile. I think he can make more out of nothing. But I think the first trade will definitely impact the other. If Watson goes for two firsts and something else, and then somebody's looking at Stafford and they're like, well, I'm not going to pay that much for Stafford, but how about a first and a second? I don't think we'll get 2 firsts for Stafford. I don't think he's that valuable, but I do think he holds quite a bit of value to a lot of NFL teams. Campbell and Anthony Lynn will conflict that remark. Which one? Building the team or around Stafford, or building the team around the new quarterback, I should say. Our last pick is in the 5th, right? I believe so. I believe our last pick is in the 5th round because our 6th round pick went to Dallas for Everson Griffin, and I'm not entirely sure what happened to our 7th round pick. I'm not totally sure. I don't think this one goes past the 1st round yet. It really doesn't. So I'm not totally sure. Maybe if I go to mock draft, I doubt they have a 7th round mock draft, but I would look just to see. Oh, maybe they do. So, oh nope, they don't. Oh well. Oh well. Well, they got. I would take Aziz at 41. I'd be hyped at that. Oh, Micah Parsons and Aziz. That could be something special. That'd be nasty. Anyway, I got caught off track again. I think the best we can do is a 1st and a 3rd this year, and I think that's realistic, and I think that's definitely possible. Cutler got a 11 and 3 and a player. I would assume he meant 1 because I don't think you can trade an 11th round pick. Trade to the 49ers. I think it's possible. I think it's definitely possible, but I'm not entirely sure how that would look because I don't know if the 49ers would be willing to give up the 12th pick for Matt Stafford. Plus, they still have Jimmy Garoppolo, and I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo on this team. I really, really don't. There are other examples of lesser players getting more. Yeah, I mean, Sam Bradford a couple years ago got a 1st rounder, didn't he? So I think a 1st rounder is 1, a 1, and a 3. I got you. Okay. I mean, I definitely think Stafford holds value. I think for a quarterback needy team, Stafford holds value. So I think we could. I think a first round pick is the very least, because I mean you see other guys like Sam Bradford getting a first round pick. Again, you said Jay Cutler got 2 firsts, a third, and a player. You know, I would take Stafford over Jay Cutler just about any day of the week. So I definitely think it's. I definitely think Stafford will get at least a first and some more. Um, Ooh, DJ's mock draft has us trading down. That's probably for not trading down, probably trading for Stafford. I just saw it scroll across my bottom as I'm watching NFL Network. We had the 21 pick, which likely means we traded Stafford to Indy. The Dorsey hire is a great move, but this is definitely a 3+ year rebuild without Stafford. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't disagree with you, Real. I mean, I think it's an interesting one. Real, if you want to hop on, if you would like to hop on and share your opinions or anything like that, just feel free to DM me on Twitter and I'll send you the link if you'd like to hop on for a little bit and share some more thoughts. But yeah, I think it's definitely a longer term thing. I don't think it's necessarily, something that we can look to right now and say, we're going to be competitive next year. But I think 2 years, I don't think it's necessarily 3+. I think next year is going to be a bridge year, a kind of a year that, the record doesn't matter, but what we see as far as progression does matter. But I think in 2 years, we should really be holding this team accountable. That was a right. Now we got two guys that like to move around the draft board. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 1-1 and 1, or 1-1 and 3 for color and a player. I mean, that would we could get if we can get 2 firsts, a third, and a player from somebody. I'd be so down to get rid of Stafford. Like, as much as I love Stafford, 2 first-round picks, a player, and a third-round pick, done. That's game. Pack up your bag, Stafford. Go wherever we're trading you to. You're gone. I want to know what's going down with Kenny G and Marvin Jones, because we lost them, and then our starters would be, well, Amendola is not under contract either, and I don't believe Mohamed Sanu is under contract. Marvin Jones is testing free agency. I know that for a fact. Kenny Galladay, I believe, is in contract negotiations with the new GM, or at least they're talking about the future in Detroit. Cephas is very much under contract. Amendola is not under contract. Sanu is not under contract either. We only have one wide receiver under contract next season, and that is Mohamed Sanu. So that'll be interesting to see how we go from. It'll be super interesting to see where we go with the wide receivers, because we definitely need to reload. But I think there's a lot of good wide receivers out there. The draft is loaded. Free agency is loaded depending on who makes it. So Denver could be a dark horse for Stafford. Yeah, we talked about that a little earlier. Yeah, I think Denver could be a very good – I think it could be a very good stopping point. I wouldn't hate Quentin Nelson and a couple mid-round picks for Stafford. If I would love Quentin Nelson. If we got Quentin Nelson straight up, that wouldn't even be a bad trade. But I mean, I wouldn't say just trade Stafford for Quentin Nelson, but if we could somehow pull off a trade for Quentin Nelson and a couple mid-rounders, that would be a huge dub, because then we move Jonah Jackson back to right guard. That would be the best center in the NFL, the best guard in the NFL, a top 5 tackle in the NFL, a really good, one of the best rookie guards from last season, and then all we had to do is figure out that right tackle position. That would be the best potential offensive line in football if we got Quentin Nelson. I would be so down for getting Quentin Nelson. Could we trade Stafford for Tua? Absolutely not. Tua is average at best. If we were gonna, Stafford's better than Tua, there's no way. I'd be so upset if we traded Stafford for Tua. That would be such a big mistake. Oh yeah, don't forget, we got to fix the wide receiver position too. We do got to fix the wide receiver position. Will the Colts trade a first for Stafford? I think they will. Their Colts first round pick is only at 21. So I think at 21, I think you could definitely see that and a little bit more for Stafford. So I think if you're looking at the Colts, I think they would be willing to give up their first for Stafford. Real Detroit sports fans, Stafford's gone, move on. I mean, we can still be sad about it. It's only been about a couple hours, man. It's not even been 24 hours. We can still be a little hurt about it. Color was pretty young when he got traded. I think it was the year Stafford got drafted. That's potential. Who you want at quarterback? I don't know if you're talking to me or if you're talking to Real, but I don't know if you're talking to me or Real, but for me, if I could pick anybody, I'll pick Zach Wilson. My number 2 would be Justin Fields, and my number 3 would be Trey Lance, and then I guess 4 would be Kyle Trask.
Lawrence isn't on that list just because I know we're not going to get him, more likely than not. Thanks, man. But I'm at the gym. I see you, Detroit. I see you, real Detroit, getting swole, getting big in the gym. I see you. I see you. Life's too short to look back. Stafford's gone. Well, it is what it is. I kind of got it. I know for a fact that Stafford's gone. I know he's not coming back, but it's give me 24 hours to cope, and come tomorrow. Then you could tell me get over it. Give me 24 hours to cope the loss of my quarterback, and then we're good. We will get crab legs guy for a second. I don't think Jameis Winston would be horrible, but I'm not. I don't like Jameis Winston. Obviously, his whole turnover thing is really unappealing. Lions got John Dorsey. They absolutely did. They did get John Dorsey. We talked about that a little bit earlier, and I'm incredibly excited. Can we fire all of our coaches and hire Joseph Dion and Ryder? And let's talk Lions. I like our coaching staff now. I really like our coaching staff. But if the Lions are ever calling, I'll be sure to answer the phone. The Lions ever call me up. If the Lions ever call me up, I will be there. Me and Joseph Dion, I want to do something with Dion at some point. We haven't done anything in a while. I'd like to get together with Dion and do a Lions video, whether that be a skit, whether that be a live stream. I'd like to get together with him again. He's always a fun guy to talk Lions football with. So I'd like to do something with him. Coaching the Detroit Lions would be a fun collaboration. That'd be a good video. Me and him collaborate. We're like, yeah, we actually we're the head coach and the general manager. They fired Dan Campbell and they hired me, and then they fired Brad Holmes and they hired Joseph Dion 2.0. So that'd be fun. Denver definitely has a real shot with Vaughn coming back, and the offense needs a competent quarterback, and they could be dangerous. Plus, Locke would benefit from his presence. I think so. I think you could definitely look at Stafford to Denver. I think that's a very realistic and a very solid case. I think that's a very realistic shot as well. Good news is if we don't re-sign anybody to our team, we will get a lot of complimentary picks for next year. That's true. That's a fair point. Could we trade Matt Stafford for Jared? No. Nope. Not a fan of Jared Goff either. Allen Robinson, I would love to bring Allen Robinson. I think he'd be a very good quarterback. I would have liked Stafford to stick around a couple more years and have a replacement ready. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Steve-O. That's what I was really hoping would happen. But obviously that's not happening anymore. We not getting no Goff. I don't even want Jared Goff. I think he's a decently talented quarterback, but I don't think mentally I was going to say he's not all there mentally. Obviously that's made me sound like he's insane or something. He's not, but I don't think he has the ability to call plays I don't think he has the ability to run an offense like Stafford, and I would take Stafford over Goff personally. I really like the John Dorsey hire. I love the John Dorsey hire. I'm super excited about that one. Stafford for a first and a second round pick. I can see it for the right team. I could definitely see that. Who wants Jared Goff anyway? Stafford is better. That's what I've been saying. TJ Hawk season. That's what I've been saying. I'm 76, and Stafford is the best quarterback I've seen in Detroit, and that includes Bobby Lane. That's quite the compliment to Matt Stafford. And I never watched Bobby Lane. I'm 17, so you got a couple years, like a year or two on me. So I'll take your word for it. But yeah, Stafford is the best quarterback the Lions have ever had, and that's a fact. Trey Lance in the first, wide receiver in the first. I would not be opposed to that in any way, shape, or form. Again, it all depends on who's on the board. It all depends who's falling, who's rising. Obviously, the combine's not going to happen, so that sucks. But it all depends on who's available at the time. It all depends on the value of the pick there. But I would not be opposed to Trey Lance and a receiver in the first round. Do the Lions spend a lot on a wide receiver in free agency without knowing who the quarterback is, or do we try to find some rookies in the draft? I think that's an interesting thought because, right, if you got Allen Robinson potentially as a wide receiver, and I'll go over to this wide receiver tracker again, and I'll even make it just slightly bigger so it's easy to see. But right, if we go over to just wide receiver and we update it, I mean, there's some solid wide receivers out there, and some of them will cost big money, some of them won't. I think AJ Green could be interesting. I don't think he'll cost a ton of money, and I know he's struggled with injuries the past couple of seasons. Um, but I think he could be an interesting, cheap, security blanket. Allen Robinson seems to be the big name guy that a lot of people want, and I would not be opposed to giving him big money. Larry Fitzgerald's retiring, so I don't know why that's there. Sammy Watkins could be an interesting one. Brashad Perryman could be interesting. Corey Davis is a guy that I would love to see come in. Um, you go down the list. John Ross could be an interesting cheap guy. Keenan Cole could be an interesting cheap guy. Kendrick Bourne could be an interesting cheap guy. Will Fuller might be a little bit more expensive, but I think he obviously got some nice talent. Chris Connolly could be interesting. DeMarcus Robinson could be interesting. Curtis Samuel's a big one that I would really like to see. We could always bring Mohamed Sanu back. I don't want Juju. I almost said I do. I don't want Juju. More because of his personality. Obviously, Kenny Galladay's still there. I mean, there's a lot of good wide receivers out there, and I don't think you need to break the bank on everyone. I think you could definitely spend more money on some wide receivers than others, of course, but I don't think you need to break the bank on wide receivers to get some good talent in here for the next quarterback. Going over to the next thing, my computer got really slow all of a sudden. No, we're taking a wide receiver first round. That would be dumb. I mean, I think taking a wide receiver top 10 would be dumb, but I think if we're sitting at 21, you could definitely look at maybe a Rondale Moore. You could definitely look at, some of the other wide receivers available. I'm not saying take a wide receiver top 10, but I think it would be smart for the Lions to get another young, maybe dominant X wide receiver to go on the boundary. So my computer is freezing. It's slowing down. I don't know if it's affecting the video quality at all, but it's slowing on my end. He's my foolproof plan. Ask the commissioner to turn off salary cap. Wait till free agents, sign a bunch of dudes, then trade for Nelson, Marpet, Barkley, Metcalf, Von Miller, Barton, Campbell, Jamal Adams, and I don't know. I mean, that sounds pretty solid. Unfortunately, this isn't a Madden league. That'd be sick though. We just, let me call up Roger Goodell and be like, yeah, can you just turn off the salary cap? That's a fantastic Madden strategy. But unless you're the Chiefs, you're not really playing Madden. The bar is high. Yeah, the bar is relatively high at this point. And Dion cried last night because of Stafford. I wasn't crying, but I was definitely, I was very mixed. I wasn't crying, but I was definitely sad, man. I was definitely upset. First round pick, second round pick, Stafford time. Move on. Lions want him back. He wanted to go. Goodbye. I mean, if Stafford doesn't want to be here, Stafford shouldn't be here. I mean, Stafford has earned the ability to move somewhere else. Imagine Stafford went to the Bears. That's the next Chiefs team. Stafford's not going to the Bears. The Lions would not trade him to the Bears. The Lions aren't stupid. I know they make a lot of dumb decisions, but that's just not how it works. Yes, that's what I would want for Stafford, first and second for this draft. I would take that. I would definitely take that. Did I call A-Rob a quarterback? That's my fault. I don't think I did, but maybe I did. I said he's cheap for a quarterback. You can trade Stafford to the Cowboys for a switch in division. Can we trade Stafford to the Cowboys? I think it's possible. I definitely think it's very, very possible. Dion looked like somebody. I might take a picture of that comment. That's funny. I wasn't happy about it. Obviously, obviously, I hate that he wanted to leave, and I hate the fact that we put him in a situation where he wanted to leave. But I'm happy for Stafford that he's going to have a chance to move on. I'm sad as a Lions fan that I've seen Stafford play in his last game. Stafford is not better than Rodney Peete. I would disagree. We don't say that name. What are you talking about? I didn't. Thank you. Let's see. Our staff is loaded. Holmes, Campbell, Glenn, Lynn, Hank, fairly staying. And our staff is actually sick. Our staff is actually goated. We might hire Eagles special teams coordinator. That wouldn't even be a bad move. Like that would even make the roster better. The draft class is the draft is loaded with wide receivers. Yeah, I think both free agent class and the free agent class and the draft class is very loaded at wide receiver. Draft needs to be all defense. I mean, I definitely think you need a quarterback now more than ever. I was, not opposed to getting a quarterback before the whole Stafford thing. So I definitely now we have to. I mean, I think we need to go defense a lot, but I don't think it needs to be all defense. I think we could get at least obviously a quarterback, maybe a wide receiver, maybe Trey Sermon if he falls. But I think, Dylan Moses in the second is a real possibility. You got, Marvin Wilson, the DT out of Florida State, who's likely going to fall because of injury. You got some good defensive players. Andre Cisco potentially at some point in the draft. He's a very good safety that I'm very high on. You have I always forget his name. It's the wide receiver out of Pittsburgh, something Ford. The name will come to me. He's really good. He'll be available in late rounds. So I do think there's some good defensive talent out there, but I don't think it needs to be all defense. I think the Lions can definitely switch some things up. And they can definitely kind of split the draft. From offense and defense, at least. You guys don't believe in me, then ask me any question. I mean, Matt Stafford, if this is a real account, if this is really you, DM me on Twitter right now. Make an account, send me a picture of your face, just like take a quick video talking to me, mention me by name, and I'll believe you. That's just how that's going to go. Until then, I can't believe you're real. Why do I always call Jalen Waddle PJ? I don't know. I have no idea. Second round, Kadarius Toney would be nice. I like Kadarius and I like Rondale Moore a lot. Those are my two wide receivers that I'm looking at in the draft right now. What about Juju? I just don't like Juju's personality. I think he got very obnoxious with the whole TikTok thing. And obviously he's not like a top wide receiver in the NFL. He's not going to change. He's not going to shift the needle. He's not going to move the needle for the Lions. I think Juju brings more distraction in his personality than he would bring production on the field. So Juju wouldn't be the worst option, I don't think, but I think the risk outweighs the reward in this situation or in that situation. Would you want position? Who and what position would you look to pick up in the third round? It depends who we get in the first two. If we go quarterback in the first and then maybe linebacker in the second, like a Dylan Moses, or if Zaven Collins somehow gets there. In the third round, I could see a wide receiver. I could see a Rondale Moore or a Kadarius Toney. If neither of them are there, I could see an Andre Cisco. Paris Ford's the guy's name. I'm not saying take him in the third, but potentially you could take him in the third. I think defense should be in the third probably, unless Kadarius Toney is there or unless Rondale Moore is there in the third round. I think you go defense. I think you either go Andre Cisco. There's a couple front seven guys still left. I think in the third round, I'm looking at Kadarius Toney potentially. I'm looking at maybe a Rondale Moore if he somehow falls. I'm looking at Andre Cisco or Paris Ford. Those are my big four for the third round. After taking a quarterback, the Lions need to draft best player available either side of the ball. There's a lot of holes on this team. Yeah, unless like the best player available is like a tight end or something. Obviously, unless it's a very extreme circumstance, I would agree BPA is probably the best way to go for the Lions. Colts will talk. It's locked. Lions will have 2 firsts in 2021. Number 7 Fields / Jones, QB 21 Rashad Bay. Colts will. It's locked. I mean, if that was the case, if that really happened, if we get 2 firsts for Stafford, I would be so down. I would be so happy with that. Then Rashad Bateman at 21 would be a good value too. I think he's a good player. Or we could always look at I think if we're at 21 and if Zaven Collins is available, I would love Zaven Collins to be picked at 21. I think that could be a real big one. Look at my guy Louis out here. He knows what's going on. if we somehow get 2 firsts for Stafford, I'd be very excited about that. Lynn can develop our rookie. Our quarterback coach is crucial to his development as well. Yeah, are the Lions getting a new quarterbacks coach this year? Did they fire or get rid of their old quarterbacks coach? I'm the serious question. Seriously asking, I don't remember whether that is the case or not. The only way the Bears get Stafford would include their whole draft. Yeah, even then that would be questionable. I was thrilled he is leaving. Sorry. Everybody's got their own opinion, man. Everybody got their own opinion. I'm not going to tell you you're right or wrong. Haha, ironic, isn't it? I'm not going to tell you you're right or wrong, whether you like the trade, whether you like him leaving or not. Personally, I don't like it, but I also understand that everything's got to come to an end. I also understand that there are reasons to trade Stafford. I understand he's worth a lot of money. I understand he's been injury prone the last couple of years. I understand he's never won anything. So I get the arguments, and don't think I'm just tuning all the arguments out against Stafford, but in my personal opinion, I liked him. I wish he could have stayed here, and I hope he retires a Detroit Lion. I hope he comes back for a day, he signs one of those one-day contracts to retire a Lion. But I get why we got rid of him. I understand it. But that doesn't mean I have to be happy about it. Let's see. I'm a big fan of building the trenches O&D line. I think that's the best way to build a football team. Defense after the first and second round. Probably. I think that's probably a fair way to go. Now, I'm not thrilled Stafford is gonna be gone, but if they're getting good competition, I'll be thrilled. I would assume he meant compensation. But if they get good compensation for Matt Stafford, I won't be mad at it. And I get that, Stafford wanted to leave, and I get that. It doesn't mean I got to be happy about it, but I do understand it. I don't care if we get Trevor Lawrence. He's not doing anything without time to throw the ball. Yeah. Yep. I don't disagree. What was your Canary's name? What? Lions hire Ray Agnew as assistant GM. Did that actually happen? Or is that saying, or are you saying that's something that should happen? Don't bring Juju's TikTok. That's what I said. I think his personality outweighs his potential a little bit. Heard of Ray Agnew? I have not heard of Ray Agnew. So I'd have to look into that. He's a director of personnel for the Rams. That would be interesting. Did that actually happen? Did Holmes bring somebody else in? Who is this? Ray Agnew? If you guys make me look something up like that's really stupid, I'm gonna feel dumb. And former player who is the director. It doesn't say anything. I don't see anything on that, so I don't think that it's. I mean, if he's the guy that's in charge of the personnel, then obviously he's done a very good job. I thought first he's a DB, he's a safety at Pittsburgh, who I really like. He's a hard hitter. He's a good player, man. Safety from USC is going to be the next Troy Polamalu. You haven't heard of him? Check out. I've heard of him, and I've seen a little bit of him. I'll definitely have to check him out. I'm not writing that down. I'll just look up USC safeties. Dude, if the best player is Pitts, I'd love to see him. Well, yeah, but Pitts is not going to be the best player at 7. And my comment was more for like the second or third round when we go best player available. Like if the best player available is Frankenmuth, the guy from Penn State, I'm not taking him if he's the best player available in the second round. If Pitts is available and if Pitts is the best player available, then we can have a conversation about Kyle Pitts. But other than that, I'm not taking a tight end, man. All top QBs will be off the board by the 7th pick. I don't think that's true. I think if this tankathon ever loads, Jacksonville will likely take a quarterback. New York will likely take a quarterback. Atlanta will take a quarterback. Miami will not. Cincinnati will not. Philadelphia will not. I don't see how 4 quarterbacks go. I don't know, because a quarterback's not going to Miami, a quarterback's not going to Cincy, and a quarterback's not going to Philly. It's not happening. So one of the big 4 will have to be falling. That's just how it is. That's just the math of the situation. He's one of Holmes' guys from the Rams. I mean that wouldn't be bad. Obviously, if he's in charge of all the personnel, he's done a very good job. We change this live stream from quarterback to Pags versus Buccaneers stream. I'm gonna hop off here in just a minute. We've been on for just under 2 hours talking Lions. And while I love talking Lions with you guys, my voice is getting kind of tired. I'm getting a little worn out. Obviously, football is on in just a couple of minutes, so I'll be getting off in a couple minutes, probably 5-10 more minutes left. So I need water because my throat is starting to hurt. I wouldn't hate Pitts. He's going to be great. I think Pitts will be a very good. I think he'll be a very good player. Some about him, LMAO, right or wrong, said right or wrong. That's why I said ironic, right? Welcome to the Fitzmagic era. I wouldn't mind Fitzmagic for a year in Detroit. It's one of the only places he hasn't been. The most important thing is for the draft players to contribute. No more wasted picks. Very much true. Autocorrect sucks. Yeah, it does. Hurts about Stafford. I don't know what you mean. Jalen Hurts? I would not be opposed. I mean, I wouldn't like Jalen Hurts, but what does that mean? He's good in free agency. I don't know. I don't know. How do you like the head coaching choice? I like Dan Campbell a lot. I like his fire. I like his energy. I want to punch Troy Aikman in the gut. Some days I don't disagree with you. Look on Twitter. Let's go back to Twitter real quick. Let's see. We'll reload it really, really quickly. That's funny. All right. I think I'm gonna shut down the stream. We've been on for 2 hours. The 2 hour mark just ticked over. So we'll wait for this Twitter thing to load really, really quickly. I'm not seeing anything, so well, that's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate everybody for showing out. I think we capped it like 39 or 40 viewers today, which is incredible. That's a lot of people. I'm glad everybody showed up. I'm glad everybody was able to show up and come hang out and talk some Lions football with me. Again, if any of you ever want to be on, just feel free to hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Twitter. I would be very down to have some other guests on this channel. If you want to see anybody on this Lions talk, whether that be a DSA member, whether that be Dose of Dion, whether that be any other Lions creator, leave that in the comments after this video is uploaded, after this video is, rendered to YouTube to rewatch it. But with all that, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for coming out today. You guys make my Sundays better when you guys show up and when you guys engage and when you talk with me about Lions football for a couple hours. So I appreciate everybody for coming out. But with all that, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for showing out. Thank you all so very much for coming in to the broadcast. Very much for coming in to the live stream. But with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see y'all tomorrow with more content. I don't know what's going to be up yet. Obviously, there's John Dorsey news. There's Anthony Lynn news. There's Matt Stafford news. I'm sure there's going to be something by the end of Sunday. So I appreciate all you for coming out. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Bye, guys.